Zohar, an infinite energy source, was unearthed and studied by human scientists nearly 5,000 years before the Eldridge crash. Humanity, now drunk on divinity's allure, could finally be onto gods, yet their growth was purely scientific. Spiritually, they remained shallow. To push their ambitions further, they created Deus, a planetary-scale biological weapon, and began experimenting with Zohar itself. It was during these experiments that something unimaginable occurred. The wave existence, a higher dimensional being, was dragged into the physical, trapped in the form realm. An entire colony in Miktam was erased in an instant. And thus, boy met girl. Due to an accident, Deus lost control and started attacking the colony. A 7-year-old boy, Abel, having just watched his mother die in front of his eyes, came face to face with the divine. With no one to turn to, his contact with the Zohar sealed the wave existence into the third dimension and imprinted onto him its power. Yet even touched by a god, Abel remained an orphan. What now? The government was paralyzed. No one could explain what just happened. It was incomprehensible. Terrified of Deus, they sealed it and loaded the entire system onto the interplanetary vessel Eldridge. Colonel Higoyoshi Inoue commanded a population of 1.2 million on a migration route toward New Jerusalem for further research. Every safeguard was in place. Or so they thought. Despite the severed connection, Deus suddenly reactivated and hijacked the Eldridge's mainframe, Raziel's tree. But its mission was shockingly human for a machine. Return to Lost Jerusalem, to Mother Earth. Interesting. Raziel's tree contained all cosmological history, you see, a vast database chronicling every moment from Big Bang to now. Using Zohar to shift space-time, Deus attempted to reveal Earth's lost coordinates and force a return home, the motherland. But why? We don't know. The longing feels familiar. A machine wanting to go back, a boy missing his mother. A shared desire for belongingness that no longer exists. This little guy was aboard Eldridge. His prior resonance in those tests with Zohar restored Deus's power. Phase gear later functions against Deus while all others fail because Abel's lineage is the living conduit of Zohar. And if the boy held the power, then the girl Elihim held the will. After the contact, the non-dual wave existence split its essence into duality. One became Abel, the other crystallized into Elly with a mother's will. Their reunion is the only way back now to the higher dimension, through the path of Sephiroth. I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. The biblical quote from Revelation 22:13, a declaration of existence beyond space-time. Yet life aboard Eldridge went on. An entire city down below right here, unaware that a god slept in suspended animation at its core. And when it awakened, the operators had to trigger emergency level 1, the highest security protocol. If God attacks, then humanity fights back. Omega 1 restarting referred to the Deus's embryonic phase, while Alpha 1 governed the Katamoni supercomputer. Despite being in its infancy, Deus's power was still unparalleled, growing at an unprecedented rate. Nothing could override its control. Not the Phaetex system, not the quarantine measures, not even physically cutting cables to prevent further containment. The electricity simply leapt across the gaps and reconnected anyway. As if taunting the crew knowing its superiority. You shall be as gods. echoed across the screens. A line from Genesis 3:5 in which the serpent tries to deceive the first woman by saying if she eats the forbidden fruit, she'll be as gods. They know what's happening. Colonel Inoue, realizing the hopelessness, seeks to save as many lives as possible by ordering everyone to evacuate. But Deus' weapons, Fort Jaspers, struck the escape ships, one which we will explore further into our adventure. The Colonel took one last deep breath, looking over the chaos, saying, "We did this. Humanity's arrogance did this." His wife and daughter, wanting to see their faces one last time. He was doing this for them, for their safety, executing a self-destruct protocol in an effort to kill God. Sounds desperate, because it is. If this ship sinks, at least it sinks with Deus. With the spinal control shaft destroyed, Eldridge could no longer maintain structural mass balance caught by a planet's gravity well. It plummeted. Realizing survival due to atmospheric pressure was impossible, Deus separated its control module, Katamoni, from Zohar's body. As a result, Deus falls into a 10,000 years long slumber beneath the ocean, awaiting its resurrection. The end of this era would be remembered as the time of the gospel. The clock is ticking now for God, or else it will drown. Literally 10,000 years is how long Deus' lungs can take this before its systems fail. The God is one of us now, fighting for survival, fragile, but also yearning to become whole. The physical components could not locate the missing relics, so the anima of the biological computer acted instead. Miang Hawa was her name, the persona of Zohar, who divided herself into two beings. One was Mia, the cunning, Machiavellian purple-haired girl tasked with resurrecting Deus. The other was Elohim, the antitype, the one meant to be one with Abel, her other half, so the wave existence could one day be whole again. But this world was too vast, you see. A few bodies were not enough to find the anima relics. They could be literally anywhere. Miang was pressed against time, forced to turn the animus into 12 human vessels, and appointed a 13th master above them, Emperor Cain, an immortal being created solely to resurrect God, transcending the generations and the limitations of humanity. Only Cain could kill Cain after all. Yet by becoming human, the Gezel ministry corrupted themselves. The genetic blueprint of Deus was lost forever. Even if they retrieved every single anima relic right now, Deus would have no flesh to move. So they needed to rebuild the animus using humanity itself, breeding, cultivating, refining millions into raw materials for God's rebirth. While Miang guided the evolution of Gezel's descendants, the 12 animus bodies instinctively wandered toward their corresponding anima relics. Meanwhile, she noticed a small boy crying in the desert. The sole survival of the Eldridge crash, protected by his contact with Zohar and fated to be the destruction of Deus. Abel. This story never ends, huh? Why did he survive but not others? Why did she have to die? Who are these people? What is this place? I just want to belong somewhere again. I just want to go home because it's getting lonelier and lonelier out here.
It wasn't me, can't you understand?
Not just anyone can pilot those machines, you know. Don't do it. Why
I suppose that's why she exists, Ellyheim, to remind Abel that he's not alone. None of us are, even if it feels that way sometimes. Holding his hand. Now he's staring at a fire of his own making, a fire he can only approach through paint. Is it cowardice? Maybe. Or maybe distance is the only way he can get close to whatever is burning inside him. So, Faye paints. Creation these days is the only thing that doesn't terrify him. God created humans. Perhaps art is how humans answer back. 3 years ago, a masked man dropped him here, unconscious, drenched in blood, no memories, screaming his father's name, nightmares, clawing at him every night. So Faye paints, because somehow, miraculously, his hands still remember how to make something beautiful, despite the pain, maybe because of it. The villagers see it too. Faye has a natural ability for painting in martial arts, they say. His body remembers. And like Citan said on the cliff, music can bring back things buried deeper than memory. Things that live in places even words can't reach. Maybe something persists between lives, something more primal than images or concepts. We, as humans, forget so much, yet we never lose the feeling of ourselves, who we are beneath the noise. But Faye, our protagonist in Xenogears, complicates even that. Is it possible we remember things we need to forget and forget things we need to remember? Faye doesn't know what the fuck he's doing out here, you see. What is this place? A small hamlet located in the eastern part of Ignis. So what? Lahan is supposed to be home, but then why doesn't it feel that way? Timothy is about to hold Ellis's hand in marriage, offered me a place to belong when I had nothing, no one. Now it's time for me to be there for them. Gotta check up on her as well, for sure. But I don't know what to say, especially as the big day approaches. There is this tension in the room. Unspoken feelings neither of us dare to say. Her wedding dress looks beautiful, by the way. Just like herself. Maybe the drunk guy at the bar was right. There's a dark and icy wind where you're going, a wind that nurtures grief and resentment, inviting death where there is no salvation. Hearing this, you laugh it off, but it stays with you anyway, gnawing at you at the back of your mind, just in case Faye should keep this brief. The last thing he wants is to confuse Alice. Confusion. He sure knows that script. Maybe if he weren't born in this village, maybe if he just said it now, she would reciprocate. No, you do what you gotta do and I'll get the camera and lights from Citan, alright? It's for the best.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's nothing. I'm sorry. Oh yes, that's right. Faye, have you seen Dan? Honestly, that kid, I just told him I had an errand for him to run. Could you? Oh, but I couldn't possibly. Hey, have you ever thought of things this way? If you had been born in this village, and if we had only known each other earlier on? It's nothing. I'm sorry. Be careful on the mountain path, and give my regards to Dr. Azuki. Is this fate? I feel so foolish. Who am I kidding? Honey, you're gonna knock that over, please.
This guy up on the hill, mentor, friend, brother, or something like that. I don't really know who he is, but he feels like the one person in this village I can actually be myself around. Safe even. I can talk to him, about emotions, about the things I'm dreaming and thinking about. Beyond the meaningless chit-chat, Citan gets me unlike those guys. Right? But then the music stops, shatters into a million pieces. I suppose some people can't live in peaceful villages. That's the message, clear as day. Even Citan seems shaken before slipping back into that calm, scientific rhythm, tinkering with his junk outside like nothing happened. Before leaving, we stop by to see Yui and Midori. She's really getting better at that chicken sauce. Parsley underneath brings out the texture more. Now, I know what you're thinking. You forgot about someone, Otos. Where is Dan? Well, he's right here. Just a kid. The kid with a receding hairline. Loud, nosy, convinced he understands Faye. But how could he when Faye doesn't understand himself? All Faye wants is to just get through the day, return to his canvas, his room, and let the brush decide the next stroke. To be free from the burden of this. On the trail back home, a thought returns, one that's been smoldering for a while. Fire, death, a phoenix rising from its ashes. Maybe these dreams aren't dreams at all, they're warnings. What is destruction if not the creation of something else? You see smoke because fire existed. You rebuild because something broke. But if that's true, then why do I feel so afraid? I feel broken more so than others. My name is Faye, but I don't have a will, imprisoned in this body and mind. A version of myself I never chose. Faye, the amnesiac. Faye who paints. Faye who fights. Is that all I'm to be? Ironic how humanity for 10,000 years have tried to become gods, yet Faye right now is trying to remember how to be human. Maybe they are the same things. Sometimes I wonder, can humanity reach the divine without shattering its reflection?